If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm a pretty big Moonie, and so I wanted to talk today about something that always bothered me when I started collecting manga, because I realized something about the Sailor Moon anime versus the manga, which was Mamoru's age. So let's go ahead and get into the video. So when I first started watching Sailor Moon, just like Usagi Tsukino, I was also a middle school girl. I was roughly 13, 14 years old, and we know at the beginning of the story that she is a 14-year-old girl as well. And just seeing her personality, she very quickly became just a self-insert character for me as well. I was also a bit of a crybaby. I was clumsy, and not gonna lie, a bit of a glutton after school. And so when the anime told me that her love interest, Mamoru or Tuxedo Mask, was a college student, I went, nope, no way. There is no way. I'll give Momo the benefit of the doubt and say that at youngest, he may be 17 to 18 in the anime, but as a 14-year-old girl myself, there was no way I personally would date a college student, yet alone have my parents' blessings to date such an older man. A college student and a middle school student being romantically involved always made me feel really weird about their relationship. Like, even though they're destined to be together, it still felt like their relationship was insincere. Mamoru's actions were beyond playful banter and teases. He was rude to her, dated her best friend / rival friend Ray or Sailor Mars, and even broke her heart many times with very cruel words. And yes, I know he was doing that to save her, but I mean, come on. Dude is a little bit too mean. And in Mamoru's defense, Usagi wasn't really that much better. She was obsessed and possessive and uber clingy to this guy. Unlike with Mamoru, she was still a kid. He seems to have been her first ever boyfriend, and genuinely, what girl wouldn't be obsessed with their first ever boyfriend? Him being older, he should have been much more mature in the anime. And not gonna lie, I always thought as a middle schooler myself, it would be nice to have a slightly older boyfriend. Emphasis on slightly. Like, maybe in high school. Wink, wink. Like, if Mamoru was actually a high school boy, it would totally explain his behavior. Oh wait, he is supposed to be a high school boy. As you can see, I have done some research, and I have even tabbed the spot on the page where we can find where Mamoru reveals his age via his card, his student card right here. This is on like page 101, by the way, so like I'll enhance the image for you guys to see it on screen. As a manga collector, Sailor Moon was obviously going to be the first ever series to join my collection. I was super shocked to learn via the manga that Mamoru was actually a second year in high school, or in 11th grade for Americans, meaning he would be maybe around the age of 16 to 17 when the pair first meets. We don't know his age exactly from the scene, but depending on his birthday, with some research, many Japanese schools tend to start in April. Compared to America, where we often start the school year in August, Mamoru could be 16 at the earliest when he meets Usagi, with his birthday being August the 3rd. Again, we don't have a complete timeline, as this is just speculation, and plus, the beginning of the manga never really tells us if it's exactly the start of term. We can guess that it may be a few weeks or even months since the school year starts, since the series opens with Usagi rushing late to school and having the teacher scold her for being late again. So we the viewers can kind of infer that this was not her first time being late to school with this teacher, so maybe it's not quite the beginning of term, but that doesn't mean that it's too far in the year for him to still be 17. He could still very well be 16. And even though we actually don't know confirmed what his age seems to be via the manga or the anime, I still like to think that he was probably 16 when they met, because, you know, 14 and 16 is a little bit better than 14 and 18. It would kind of be more likely for a 14-year-old girl to have a boyfriend 2 years older instead of 4. And so that begs the question, why did the anime age up Mamoru so much from the manga? He went from being a kind kind of middle slash late high school student to being a beginner college student. So here's some of the reasons that I have found online. Once again, these are just speculations that I found, but I wanted to go over them and give my thoughts and opinions on them. Number 1 is to emphasize his role as a protector character. So if you've ever seen anything about Sailor Moon, Usagi is the one doing the saving. Let's be real, gives my girl some credit. She is the one saving this man's ass. Like, for real. This girl literally fights to save her man from brainwashing, memory loss, and even death in almost every single season. So to me, this one doesn't quite fit their character relationship. He doesn't quite feel like a protector to me. Number 2, I have seen this one go around quite a bit where people are trying to like find a reason for why he's so much older, which is cultural norms. A lot of TV/books like to use the older guy trope. These older men tend to be more mature and emotionally balanced compared to a younger guy, and sometimes women are looking for that when they want to settle down. This is something that many women find attractive, which is a sense of maturity. And I agree that it's a decent trope, but not in this case. Keep in mind, our love interests are a middle school girl and now a college student. It's still a very weird trope that I've seen a lot of anime do. Yeah, I'm looking at you, Cardcaptor Sakura, with that one girl who was like in elementary school in a relationship, hinted relationship, with her teacher. Go do your homework. Like, literally, how did this man escape Chris Hansen? And the third one is to give him a life outside of school for the Sailor Scouts. I will say that this one does make more sense to me than anything else. One thing that we do see in the anime is that Mamoru drives a car. This would make sense as many Japanese citizens will either walk or ride a form of public transportation. From doing a very bare minimum of research, I found that you do have to be 18 years old to apply for a proper driver's license in Japan. I couldn't find anything where 16-year-olds could get a license for a car, and I couldn't find anything showing that if you were younger than 18 that you could get a permit to drive a car. But for me personally, I don't know if this is the same in Japan, so please let me know in the comments if there's something like this. But when I was 16 in school, I took driver's ed. So for the first year after I did my exams with a school teacher, someone who was licensed to be giving, the exam and stuff, I basically did a book test, passed the book test, and then I had to do like 6 hours of driving before I could actually go to the DMV. And when you go to the DMV, you can do a test, an online test, to be able to get your first permit. So with this first permit, I was able to drive with an adult for, a curfew. And after a year of recording and logging my driving time, I could then go back after a year. That basically meant that I had a curfew, so I could drive from the hours of like 6 a.m. to like 9 p.m., but I couldn't drive, during the dark nighttime kind of morning hours. But because I had the second permit, I was able to drive by myself. I didn't need an adult, I just had a curfew. This is one of the reasons that I got it so early, is so I could go to work. I was 16, 17 years old, and I needed to get to my job, and my parents couldn't take me. So this is why I got my second permit, and then I just waited until I was 18, and then I got an actual driver's license so I could drive whenever, wherever, lole. But once again, I don't quite know if there's something like this in Japan because I don't really know anything about the driving culture over there. So if there is something like that, please do inform me in the comments. And I do want to note that I did find that in some cases, 16-year-olds can apply for a smaller license for bikes and motorcycles in Japan. I'm only mentioning this because of Haruka Sailor Uranus, because she's often seen driving a motorcycle. Haruka is also 16 to 17, not quite 18 like my findings say, that you need to get a proper driver's license. And we see, with them being a very prominent racer, that they are very obviously driving a car. Though their age is pretty close enough to be able to get a driver's license, it still feels like it's not quite there, so this might pose a loophole in this whole theory. And once again, this is just like a speculation theory that I'm cooking up, that I'm brewing up over here, so I just wanted to throw that in just in case. Aging Mamoru up to an 18-year-old in the anime allows him to do things for the scouts that would genuinely make their fighting life easier. He's seen many times escorting them around in the car in the anime. And I did a quick scan of the first couple of volumes in the series where Mamoru is still technically a teenager in the beginning. And there is no mention of him being able to drive or even ride motorcycles or anything like that. Every time Usagi meets him, it's either on like a bus or just in walking form. The only car that this man knows is the car that his parents died in. Too soon? So, is that the reason why they aged Mamoru up? So that he can just escort the girls around and be cool and drive? I don't feel like that's the exact reason why, but it does make a lot of sense. I really do think that a big reason why they focused with Mamoru being older in the anime is just to give him like an older, more cool, mature kind of vibe, because that's what the audience kind of likes, you know? This kind of, you know, magical romance fans tend to like a little bit of like an older, more mysterious, hot guy. And to be fair, he is really the only reoccurring male love interest in Sailor Moon because, sorry Sailor Scouts, you're not a main character, so you don't get to have a love interest. But what do you guys think? Once again, this whole video is just speculation as to why maybe they would do this, because it is a pretty drastic change to, you know, take a guy who's like 16, 17 and age him up into like maybe 18, 19, because like that's a pretty big age gap for, you know, dating a 14-year-old girl who's in middle school. It's a pretty big age gap. And just to add it in, I have seen so many theories and speculation that maybe one of the reasons why they aged him up so much in the anime is just because Naoko Takeuchi actually forgot how old he was. I've seen a couple theories like that saying like, oh, maybe she just forgot. And I think I've even seen some people quoting like, you know, translated interviews where she's like, oh yeah, don't quite remember, but I don't know that I fully believe that one. But then again, the ages for these characters are a little bit weird, and not gonna lie, there's a lot of weird age things in Magical Girl older series. I'm looking at you, Cardcaptor Sakura. Don't think you can get away from this, okay? You're the worst one here. But anyway, let me know your thoughts and opinions down below in the comments. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.